might get a bunch of images like this. You got this great house, really perfectly oriented to catch the sunshine, really thick insulated walls. In some cases, it might even have solar panels on the roof, something that we often refer to as green bling. It's been kind of tacked on there, but it does, sometimes some great things.
Okay, welcome everybody. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Green Innovation Talks with Mr. Banks. First of all, we want to celebrate everyone. Today is the International Workers' Day, 1st of May. Happy New Month as well. All right, so today we are going to be having a discussion, as we all know already, on green buildings. And right now we'll be starting the conversation. We already have our guests in the house. Right now I'm going to be bringing up Mr. Bankole Oloruntoba, who is the CEO of Nigeria Climate Innovation Center. So I believe you're ready to learn one or two things and to get innovated and get motivated. Welcome, Mr. Bankole.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tito, and I would really like to say a happy new Workers' Day, May Day to everybody. Maybe Tito can do something about my video. Oh yeah, I am back on. So I'd like to say thank you for everyone who have joined this beautiful, a bit cloudy, quite a mix. The weather is cool. People are still a bit locked down. Not everybody though. People are jumping everywhere. But today's Workers' Day. Today is a day to celebrate and to say thank you to all the health workers and every other, especially the IT guy that has been making sure everything connects for everyone who needs to work, during this period. The health guys are doing a very fantastic job. The faceless IT guys are making sure everybody is connected, and we want to say thank you to everybody. Today we are having a conversation on green buildings. And I have with me, yes, all the way from him is architect Emmanuel. But I'll let Emmanuel explain, to give us a little bit of who he is. Background of what we need
All right, everyone. Tito, I hope you can hear me now. I hope my audio is good. Good morning to you all, ladies and gentlemen, from everywhere global that are watching us from. I'm sure some persons are in Nigeria and beyond. Thank you very much to the Nigeria Climate Innovation Platform for bringing on board our team to discuss around green buildings today. First of all, I'm Emmanuel Falude. I'm an architect and a passive design specialist. Of course, part of it is also green building expression. So primarily, I do and train on passive design and green building, and I help clients to maximize their profit. Then using some cost-benefit analysis tool and some ROI tool. So primarily, what we do is to ensure that we help clients to make profit and also benefit the environment and make environment healthier, protect the natural features through our work and expressions. Thank you very much for having us this morning. Good morning, all. All right, Tito, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can hear you.
Beautiful.
Okay, well, as we wait on, I think there was a little bit of connection issue. Sorry about that, our viewers, but let's just continue as we wait for Mr. Banks to come back, to connect back. Okay, now I will just ask this question: that's what's the concept, the general concept about green building, and maybe just a brief overview on the benefits of green building, so that our viewers will understand what green building actually truly means.
All right. Thank you, Tito. So basically, the first thing about green building, it discusses the whole span of building system, from its planning to its design, to its construction, to its renovation, and to its end of life. So basically, it's a module or a discourse around how buildings can be more resource efficient, and how buildings can be more environmentally responsible. So the discourse, okay, for instance, there are some recent analyses that shown to us that building alone globally consumes about 42 to 43% of our energy produced from all sources. So basically, if we then look at how to make, and of course, the consumption is statutory based on the traditional way of building and living. But what green building project is, how can we then make this building stay on lesser energy, and how can we make the inhabitant of the green building stay healthier, so while we also benefit the environment. So the core concept of green building is around three thoughts: around the people, which is people that dwell in the building, and people that finance the building, and people to which the value of the building gets enhanced, and also the planet. How do we get to use our building to reduce climate change, to reduce ozone depletion, and also to help with greenhouse gas emission? And then the profits. So the profit is, how then can I run this building cheaper compared to a traditional building? What are the features and elements and thoughts and practices that can engage the planning phase and the design phase and the construction phase that can make my building cheaper to run and less damaging to the environment? So those three concepts, the people, the planet, the profit, are the core around the discourse of green building. You know, resource efficient and environmentally responsible. I hope that answers the question. Do you want me to also go ahead and discuss the benefits?
Yes, thank you. Yes,
okay,
yes,
so
please, thank you.
Okay, so benefits. I think if you're looking at the benefits, we can look at it from the field perspective. We can look at the people. Let's start from the people. Some of the features, okay, maybe we have also discussed the key elements you need to look at when discussing green building. There are some basic elements you need to talk about. You need to talk about water consumption. You need to talk about energy consumption, both the embodied energy in the material and the energy needed to run the building. We also discuss about indoor environmental quality. I mean, the indoor space, because some of the features and fittings that we bring into indoor spaces also affect the air quality. There was a recent research that was published in one of the US journals, one of the US health journals, that says that about 50 to 60% of cancer developed in human beings are caused due to air quality in their indoor spaces. And most of us stay about at least between 80 and 90% in our indoor spaces, either in your office or in your house. So if we look at the indoor air quality in your home, in your office, and we can basically eliminate some features, some contaminants, some VOCs, it can basically also help you to be healthier. So part of the element of green building also discusses around indoor air quality, around waste management, and around how to harness your site, how much damage you do to your sites when you are building, or how much you can harness natural features on your site to enhance the people and save energy. So within this discourse, we can now start looking at the benefits. So first of all, if you have a green building, as it were, or a greener building, depending on the practice and the benchmark you assess for yourself, what helps is that it helps you to run the bill, because basically a lot of us also that pay bills regularly knows that a lot of money goes into water bills and power bill. They are even buying fuel to your generator, or you are paying KCM bill, or anywhere you are. I mean, in some developed countries, you can pay as much as like 60% of your earning monthly for your rent and your energy consumption, both water and power. So if we embrace the concept of green building, what that does is it saves some money into our pocket. And of course, I mentioned earlier that it makes us healthier, because when we start looking at the indoor air quality and you take care of some particular toxic materials, you can spend lesser money on hospital bills. And also, it also helps our environment. It also helps the ozone depletion and the global warming that all of us now. I mean, for me now, it's clearer to us that whatsoever happens in Asia has happened in Africa. What we're seeing at the moment is an expression of how that one defect in Antarctica can also affect Africa. The globe, I mean, the world is flat. It's a global system. What we are thinking that, okay, let me not take care of it. Maybe I'm not having a hurricane here. I'm not having some of these effects of climate change here. But the truth is that if we take care of it, number one, we are taking care of it for ourselves, because you could travel to those places where they're having some evident effects due to climate change. And also, of course, we have been saying that all the geography we learned in college days is getting to fail us. We learned how rain comes, we learned how wind blows. I mean, all of these things are seemingly changing by the day. So any of these approach also saves the environment for us all, because the same here you are breathing here, you can also breathe the same in China. The same way Corona we were thinking was a China issue, now is there, all of us are at home. So for me, it's a global war. Anything around the environment, around climate change, around the around even resource management is also a global war. And of course, also one of the benefits of green building also is that it helps to protect our natural features. If you follow, there are some also basic standard written tools that have helped to describe how green building should be followed in design, in conceptual framework, in construction, and also in management, in maintenance, in operation, up until the end of life, like demolition. So if you also follow the basic things that some of this code that emphasized, you can also help to reduce the way natural features are being depleted. For instance, I mentioned about water savings earlier. Let me give you an instance. If you adopt an option of drip irrigation, that's a process whereby you plant water directly at the tip or at the base of your plant instead of the regular sprinkling system. You save some water. So everything that we get to do benefits us, benefit the environment, and also make us healthier and make us richer in a sense of profits. Thank you very much. I hope that answers the question. Welcome, Mr. Bankole.
Thank you so much. And I'm very grateful that Tito
Sorry, I think we're still having a little bit of some glitch with Mr. Banks' network, but please just bear with us. We would continue. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, now let's just continue with the number of questions we have. I mean, from what you were saying, sir. But it could be a concern because now in Nigeria, it's almost like I heard about green building maybe just few months ago. Some people on this platform might have heard of green building a long time ago before now. But considering what green building is, saying that okay, green building is actually essential to save our health, and it's very, I mean, it's a fantastic development. So now, in your experience pre-COVID, what are the hindrances that that green building, I mean, sustainable buildings are faced in Nigeria in the sense of construction, bringing it forward in that sense? What are the I mean, being able to do green building, because a lot of people might just want to have traditional buildings, conventional buildings, but what has it been like? What has it been like in your experience? Thank you.
I think the first issue has been the issue of knowledge gap. From my hand, I can tell you that before you start talking about the materials or the practices that are global or materials that are maybe green in the manufacturing, the first thing that I know is missing is that knowledge path from most professionals. Now, I'll tell you the reason. Now, let's start from maybe an architect's end. One of the ways to design a green building for an architect is to come up with a passive design. A passive design basically use harnesses or combines natural features and harness elements from the building to make it resource efficient and environmentally friendly. Now, I'll give you examples. For instance, orientation of building is key. It's one of the ways you can use to save either the heating or cooling load of the building. The element, let's say the shading you provide. Let's say, for instance, while you are designing your building, you are studying the North Pole, you've seen the sunrise and the sunset. Now, the spaces and the elements to face the sunrise and the sunset are meant to be well defined by the architect, because if you protect your building from sunrise and sunset, you will likely be able to also control the cooling load on the building. And also, if you also orient your building such that you could harness natural ventilation, natural wind, that also helps you to reduce the cooling load. And of course, also insulation, material option. I mean, these are a few things. Before we even talk about the complex things, these are a few things that can make your design green, as it were. And also efficiency, even the way spaces are laid out. Because also one of the concepts that green building also discusses is the ability to reduce your footprint while you're designing. How do you get to ensure that there are the layouts is such that everything is seemingly controlled in movement, in service harnessing and the like. So the first thing that I think the challenges in Nigeria is the knowledge gap. And for instance, also manufacturing is also a key component that supports green building, because some of what features they have or how much energy they consume, basically often we just say, how many watts, 60 watts, it's not bright enough, give me 100 watts. So a lot of time also, of course, knowledge gap and also manufacturing, often even the persons that really want to do some things that are energy efficient, because we don't have local manufacturing to support the supply chain, things that you want to import that are energy efficient in a sense might be expensive, not always expensive, but might be expensive. So, and of course, thirdly, research, because even at the moment in Nigeria, some of the standard rating tools that have been adopted or that we're adopting in some of our buildings are foreign, are the ones that are good for some part of the world, maybe the North America, the Europe of this world. But I mean, if we have a research arm that gets to look at things in context of what works in our climate, and if you have industry that produces things that support green practices that have energy element or energy saving features, and you could know what you are saving as you do things. And we also have a knowledge-based system that keep professionals on their toes, maybe by a method or a means of continuous learning. So I'm sure within these three spheres, we get to do more.
Mr. Architect Emmanuel, are you still with us? Can hear you from here again. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, this is Mr. Bang.
Okay. Oh wow. Sorry, sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. You're back. All
I'm
right.
back.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great. Sorry, but I think internet here. Sorry. So basically, what I was explaining is that for this to be supported in Nigeria, we need to look at these 3 or 4 sectors. The professionals that are practicing either within the individual knowledge bank or knowledge exposure, and the group, the professional groups, and also the industry that support green building practices, and of course the research arm, so that we can have like a benchmark that supports local climatic conditions, because all of these discourse will also be within a climatic condition and the things that are prevailing around us. So those are the 3 variables that I think can influence the spread and the awareness, both in business and in expression. Thank you very much. I hope that answers the question.
Can you, all right, thank you, Architect Emmanuel. Could you tell us a little bit about this?
Hello. Okay. Sorry. Oh, the network is really okay. So, I guess what you wanted to ask, I guess what you wanted to ask is about, okay, now you've really talked about a lot of, you know, a lot of things around this green building space, and it is glaring that one of the major things that is missing is awareness. If people know, when they want to build, or you know, they know the impact of some of these things, it will help to, you know, make their decision. To help them during in their decision making. All right, but now even as we have all this spelled out, what are the do-it-yourself you know, that we have in Greenville? Because at the moment, you know, everywhere is on lockdown, and it's looking like, okay, nobody can really move out. And, except for some few. Because of the NCDC and the federal government are just lighting the lockdown. Going forward from Monday. But there will still be some do-it-yourself. There will still be some construction. People want to make some amendments and everything. And in the light of green building, people hearing this, most of the viewers are interested. They want to try something out. So, what are the things that are, you know, that are do-it-yourself in green building that can be done? And okay, maybe some few things that, you know, some few innovations around the green building space.
So let me pick 2 or 3 components. Now, one of the things that cause health issues and disease in the building VOC components, volatile organic compounds. Now, while you are thinking of buying a new rug, or you are thinking of bringing new furniture, while you are thinking of even painting and repainting your spaces, I would advise to ensure that the element you are picking or the material you are picking has a VOC description that says this building or this paint has this VOC content, and check the benchmark if it's an healthy. Well, this is not the platform to start breaking all of this down, but basically you can start by anything you want to buy, check their VOC content to know how much damage they could do to your lungs. That's number one. Number two, if you want to replace some of your lighting features, maybe your bulb is out, at least endeavor to check the ones that are LEDs. Most LEDs are energy saving. Some of them get to give you the same lumen in brightness compared to your 60 watts incandescent bulbs. So you can also start looking at your bulbs when you want to change them to ensure that you buy LED ones, because cumulatively, if you have all your building or maybe your apartment run on LED bulbs, maybe with a small solar panel, you can be able to even run it without paying so much to NEPA. That's on another side. On another thought, you can start looking at, maybe you want to replace your WCs. You can start looking at WCs that are dual flush. I mean, to make it simpler, most of those dual flush helps you to save water, because the small flushing pin or button there makes it when you heat yourself. So you can then decide how much water you want to use to flush, not the ones that either you even throw a small tissue in your WC, you have to use the whole water. So you can start looking at watching out for those features as you try to do either some sort of DIY retrofitting. You can also start considering metering. I mean, also looking at some of the things you consume. Maybe you need to start adding some sort of, then if you go to the water you're consuming, to even know, even some of us that get to use free to air power sources now. Some people get to use solar for their homes. You can also start even measuring how much power you're using for these things. And of course, you can also, even as you're thinking of retrofitting, you can also start thinking about, okay, how do I even maybe bring in some solar panels to offset my energy bills? Of course, often green building at some instances can be expensive at installation. Even in construction, some of the practices, some of the features or elements you might have to adopt might look expensive, but often they are like upfront payments. So you pay now to save money in the future. So you can start looking at such things also. How can you bring in some renewable offsets to your home? Even if you cannot afford to make all your building or your home run on renewable energy, you can just select maybe the socket in your room, in your living room, can just basically run on renewable energy and see how much you will save in the process. So I think these are a few things that homeowner could do in terms of focusing on health within the space, while buying interior, while buying floor finish, while repainting, focus on how much water you can save. You can also start even asking about low flow fittings that helps to reduce water and give pressure. They give more pressure. So you can start looking at all those variables that could help you save some sort of water, some sort of energy, and even make you healthier within the building. I hope that answers your question.
That was a good one.
Okay, I think we're starting having some questions from our audience.
Before we will soon start out, going to run with these questions. But let us first, by in the next 7 minutes, we start entertaining questions, or let's say 2 minutes, we start entertaining questions. I think Mr. Banks is back. Okay.
Yes.
So to ask a little bit more, so that I don't waste any further time, I would like to ask again, right? What about jobs? That's the soccer we all call it. It can convert it into gas for using in the house. Now the question is, can an existing traditional building, meaning by traditional I mean the kind of buildings we have now that are purely brown and non-green buildings, can these buildings, can they be converted from that perspective? Can the septic tank be converted to a gas, sort of like a gas tank within the house? Is it possible what he said he could do?
Building and the features that have been introduced into it from the inception. Of course, I've been kind of keeping it simpler. I haven't been going into issue of sewage treatment plants to get us recycle our grey water, our black water. I haven't discussed issues around recycling. I haven't even mentioned around the issue of reusing some building elements. So let's keep it simpler. Yes, we can. Now, depending on the building itself or the extent to which it's been built and what want to achieve. Now, if basically what you want to achieve is to make it resource efficient in terms of run on lesser energy, the energy load, you can just basically change all your lights to LEDs. That eliminates at least about 20 to 25% of lighting requirements. You can basically also look at, let's say for instance, you have some motor-driven appliances or features in the building. You can basically look at those motors and look for energy efficient one. Also, maybe your refrigerant or your HVAC system have been running on R14. You can basically just change the R14 refrigerant to the ones that are not non-ozone depleted, non-ozone depletion, and the ones that are held there. So the goal must be clear enough so that you set out to achieve a goal, go all out there and achieve that goal. You can basically make the whole scheme green. That will determine, that also influence the cost. You can look at a certain feature within your home and just make that green. Of course, the essence of green is just ensure that you are reducing the energy consumption, ensure that you are supporting the environment, ensure people are getting healthier in your space, not getting sick. Ensure that people that also want to invest in that can also get value for them. So it's around those three variables. You can now look at, okay, which one amount might it into us? You want to make it healthier. Okay, let me look at the paint, let me look at the furnishing, let me look at the floor finish. Then I can shift that and look for healthier elements. Am I looking at the environment? I can look out for things affecting the environment, which refrigerant is one of it, and others. So am I trying to save water? If I'm trying to save water, then maybe I need to introduce a sewage treatment plant or a water treatment plant where I can get to recycle some of the water I'm using. So what you are setting out to achieve must be clear from the onset, and you can now put everything you need to put in place to achieve that goal. So you can make an existing building greener. In essence.
Okay, so it is possible to convert a sewage. I mean, just for what is traditional house, it's possible to convert whatever from there to biogas. Is it possible? Just the possibility of that.
It is possible. It is. Okay. Now, what are you trying to achieve with the biogas? Okay. You know, this is about cost-benefit analysis, right? Mm-hmm. At that level of wanting to convert the existing pit latrine or PIT to biogas system, what am I saying to achieve? How many energy can I generate from the biogas? Will it now worth my while? How much am I doing? Should I not spend that same money and do anything? The moment you thinking about it, you can always check it out with the professional or go online to search the possibility and the cost implication. So you can from there draw your cost benefit, because what we do in green buildings, also of course we are saving the environment, we're also looking at profits. So I should not adopt a methodology that will cost me more while I'm trying to be green in that sense. I can actually look for some smaller bits that can cost me less, that can be less capital intensive and give me better results. So it's possible, but to what end and what volume of gas can you generate? Really, what's your why? Really, what's your investment? And those are the questions that we need to be asking.
Mr. Banks?
Okay, so can I so there's a question here from Sadiq Usefat. Yes, Are we keeping the questions or we're just going ahead with what is happening? Hmm? So anyway, let's just move forward, right? So Emmanuel,
Yes.
there's a question here by Sadiq that says that if you've been part of any green building projects in Nigeria, and if you could just briefly explain, what are the, can you just briefly expose to them, things they need to look out for resource saving, energy conservation? Just look at that question, resource saving and energy conservation thing comes.
Hello. So you can shoot them. You have the question.
Okay, so I can't. Okay, so the question for Sadiq, can you receive? I'm trying to look for the Sadiq question.
Just go to Q&A. Q&A. Go to Q&A.
Okay.
You see questions. Can you see?
I'm trying to look for Sadiq. You said Sadiq, right?
Sadiq, yes. Usefat.
Can you see it? If you can see it, please let me read the question.
Yes, I can see it. Okay, so thank you, Emmanuel, for the exposition on green building. I'd like to know if you've been part of a green building project, and you could do a brief exposition on that project in terms of resource saving and energy conservation.
Okay, so yes, I am, and I also have some that are ongoing. So let me see how to make it brief and not technical. So I think what we did for one of the projects was basically to look at the orientation, while we check the sunrise and sunset. We also basically watch out for, we introduce some passive elements to help us reduce the effect of the direct environment on the building envelope. So we introduce some sort of fins and tray vertical element to reduce the heat on the building. And of course, we also look at our HVAC. We tried to identify some efficient motors, because also all of these things also run on these manufacturer specifications. So for instance, we instead of the regular air cooling system for some high-rise in that sense, for this we adopted water cooling system, because water cooling systems are more energy efficient and they're also more resource efficient. We also looked at the people within the space. For instance, within that design, we had like an open lawn. We have from the general restaurant on one of the floors, you can come up to enjoy natural air. And of course, the landscape, we also introduced xeriscaping. Xeriscaping is a methodology of engaging plants that are natural to a particular location when you are doing the landscaping. There are particular plants and shrubs that are native to some part, to maybe Lagos where we're working. So we're thinking of bringing anyone from some part of Nigeria or some part of the world. We're able to look for ones that are local to that location and the one we used. And I think and so on. We also look at the indoor air quality. We did a test of the external air to look at the chemical constituent, and some that we say, okay, we are looking at what to augment. So we also came up with a list of chemicals that must be, or like a benchmark of chemicals that will be in our paint, in our floor finish, in our ceiling finish, and in our furniture fitting. So it's a whole lot of work. I'm sure it's, there are more than 200 to 300 variables that we looked at. But of course, the cumulative thing is that I think one of those projects we were able to have about 27% energy reduced compared to the benchmark or baseline of a regular building. We're also able to reduce water consumption by about 28 to 30%. And we also knew that all the elements we had there, we were able to reduce presenteeism and absenteeism by our specifications. So when you're discussing, when you're using some standard rating tools, I mean, it could be as much as 200 to 300 variables or indices to checkmate or to check how much green your building is.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. There's some question on the chat. Let me just take one of it. Okay, yeah, someone was just voicing out a concern, saying that asbestos materials are still in Nigerian markets, while many countries have banned it totally. And there's another question here, also in the Q&A session, that talks about what's it called? He said, what about the case of asbestos in some homes? Now, what are we? Then another one here saying that, is there any agency in Nigeria that discredits green buildings? Now, I don't know how you can marry this.
So I think we should start. Okay, let me start from the asbestos. So the first thing about green building properties, right? There is a major, massive government role. Now, because we can all talk about it as professionals, you only have control within the space where you operate, either professionally or as a corporate entity. You don't have space that is national in that sense. So in most countries where green building practice had come to stay, for instance, I'll give you 2 or 3 instances. In India, if your building or your development or your design has some energy saving features, government gives you property waivers. That means when you're approving the property, you pay less. Your tenement rate or annual rental fee, you also pay less. So government, in that sense, is encouraging developers to go green, right? In some part of Europe, government has sent benchmark that from some, I think even in the US, AIA and government is partnering. From year 2025, any building above some certain threshold, maybe like 4 floors, must be green, must have a feature, must have a standard rating tools that it will follow in benchmarking. So the asbestos is in Nigeria. But of course, I knew that there's a lot of awareness about how the cancer features and some of the things that it costs in terms of human health. But you see, when there are no policies or legislations that back up these things, people keep what they think is good for their pockets. And don't forget, even if you want to talk about the people that own them, there are still some manufacturers in Nigeria that are doing asbestos. So how do you handle that? If the manufacturers are still doing asbestos, people will still use them because we are not all on the same level of awareness. We are not all aware. So government could help in controlling this, and maybe awareness also has to grow from everyone, because as much as we won't talk about it, this is not even what a lot of professionals are aware of, either engineers or architects or developers. So even if you talk about the elite in that sense, how many percent of us are aware? Talk about people that are not elite. So government have to do their part. As the people, we also have to do our part in creating enlightenment and awareness. So I think that like this is what can actually help us to drive more. In fact, for me, even beyond what I do for the environment, if you follow some of these things, it's for your own good. Some people have died, they don't even know what caused their death. Without some people have standard growth, without some people have some sort of avoidable cancers. We don't know what caused them. And those are things that are avoidable. So we can start looking at our own sphere of influence and start talking to people about how they can be healthier in their home by following certain features. Start talking to them about how they can save some money by following certain features. So we have the individual responsibility and also have the government path, which are policy driven. So they also have the ear of the government, but start stretching this to them. That see, we need to come up with legislation that reduces this and this and controls, like SON, for instance, they're still allowing some of these asbestos products to come into Nigeria. So how do we go from there? So it's policy, it's industry, and it's people.
Wow,
I think
thank you.
Go to the next question. Yes.
All right, thank you so much. Yes, you can take any other question that you want to.
So let me see the next question. Okay, I support the reason lead gap is one of the main issues affecting. Yes, Hello, sir. Perhaps, okay. I think professionals are highly aware of the green processes and not taking to the public, and they're not taking amidst themselves. People should not buy in can. Yeah. So Femi Adetunji is stressing that of course there are more awareness now, and that we can take it beyond the awareness by also maybe instructing some of our clients to not buy those boxes. I mean that's the truth. If you go to some of these markets, you see it there. So why are they sitting there when we know that is not efficient? Okay, let me see.
I think the questions that are there, I already asked the other question there. Although there's a last one here that said, what is the perception on dry buildings in Nigeria, and how can this be improved? I don't know.
Which is dry building. So maybe Folashade should have dry building.
If you can just drop on the chat, Folashade, you can just help us drop in the chat what you meant by dry building.
And maybe she also okay. If you have another, let's go to another question.
All right. There was a question here. Does green building only manage resources well while reducing an effect in greenhouse emission, or does it adopt renewable energy technologies?
It does now, because the reason why I didn't stress, I don't want to focus. I'm trying to not focus on what people can say is capital intensive. I'm trying to make it like what you can easily consume. I was talking about passive designs, things that are general. Even if we're talking about renewable energy introduction, I mean, we can talk about passive designs, low flow fittings, we can talk about water, how you manage water, we can talk about motion sensor lighting, we can talk about self-dimming lights, when you try to bring in daylight and the light dim by itself. Yes, renewable energy is one of it, but it's also in fact, it's a massive space there that we can look at, but it's more capital intensive when you talk about it at the mini level. Even at the bigger level, for instance, to generate 1 kilowatt, I'm trying to remember to generate 1 kilowatt hour energy, 1 kilowatt for a building, you need about 10 square meter of land. I think 10 or 100. So to run some certain building on renewable energy, you need massive spaces. Let's say for instance, the building is about 10 floors. You might need up to between 10 and 15 acres of land to install your panels. So basically, renewable energy can also be adapted by using solar panels, but often using what you generate from there to offset your energy requirement is recommended. But if you can go extra mile by making your building to be off-grid, that's almost like net zero. It's good that we don't even know, you're not even taking anything from the general grid. You are self-sustaining. So that you can even get to net positive by even getting to have more energy than you need and selling it back to people, and also being like a power arm yourself in your facility. So renewable energy is one of it, but I just keep it simpler because of the fact that let's start from what I think is easily achievable within the Nigerian space, which is around energy efficient features, water efficient features, passive design elements, and the likes. That's why I didn't stress so much on that.
All right, thank you so much. We will soon be rounding up. Thanks so much for your time. There are other questions here. I will just quickly run through those questions as we end. Okay, there's a question here from Olufemi Adetunji. From what you were saying, it's glaring that we need to work more. Policy making. On the side of the government and everything. And so now,
1 minute. Sorry. 1 minute, very going there. I think Folashade had clarified that question. Let me quickly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she said what she's referring to are masonry units without mortars. Now, the issue with masonry units without mortar, often they are bricks. The one I've seen, okay, I understand what you're saying by dry buildings now. Often they are bricks. Now, the issue with bricks is that you need more energy to kiln the bricks. You need more. If you have ever been to any kiln yard, if you look at the immense energy that is needed to take a small masonry unit and make it strong enough to be used for brick. Because if you are talking about dry building, often they use bricks with small, either the ones with minor hollow shapes or the one that is basically solid. So you need more energy to even produce a brick. So if you look at it, which is more energy efficient, I think a brick consumes more energy in preparation, because I mentioned that when we're looking at building and energy consumption, it's not just energy you're using to run, it's also energy that embodied energy that you need to produce the material that you're using. So instead of, yeah, of course, brick might have some thermal features, but you need brick everywhere. You can just use some passive design methodology to offset some of the things that could hamper your building, that could drive the cooling load of your building, and then use basic block and mortar. There are some other alternatives that you can even adapt. So for me, brick or dry building, not even beyond what I could say, they are more, I've read about them, they are more energy consuming compared to our traditional, except you're referring to the ones that are natural without it being cleaned. Those ones are good, they have some good thermal features, but if it's about the ones that are already being cleaned, you need more energy to prepare them than a conventional brick and mortar or concrete block and mortar. So I think we can go to the next question.
Okay.
So,
okay. Do you have more questions? Okay, there are a lot of questions on the Q&A aspect. Although I mean, I will just take one or two from those questions because there are a lot of questions there. But the one I wanted to ask the other time from Mr. I don't know. Okay, hopefully Mr. Olufemi. I don't know if it's a lady. It says, how does grain building processes fit into Nigeria building code? The person is saying, I believe there is a Nigeria building code that is not popularized. I don't know if you have anything to say about that.
Okay, so we have a Nigeria building code, right? But Nigeria building code that is in existence, I think the one I saw last is either 1970 something or 19 something. We don't have a recent one. Wow. Now there's a recent energy efficient code that GIZ and federal government partnered on. That also in a way helps. But that we have a building code that energy or green features has been built in it at the moment, no, we don't have. Now, let me also mention to you, even the developed countries don't also have. Now, what some of them have done is, of course, introduce subtle green features in their code. They now recommend some standard rating tools that building and homeowners can adapt to make their home greener. Now, in US, there is LEED. Of course, LEED is a global standard rating tools, leadership in energy and environmental design. There is also EDGE, excellence in design for greater efficiency. In India, there is GREA. So GREA, for instance, is locally developed by the India Green Building Council, government-backed. So if you are now thinking you want to design green in India, you are not necessarily using the India National Building Code primarily. You can also make GREA a supporting feature to make your building greener. If you are thinking, for instance, in Nigeria, we have some LEED projects all over. We have a couple of them in Lagos. I think we have in Abuja also. They follow LEED. So what they did was to superimpose our local building code with that standard rating tools, so that then the building can come out satisfying the local condition and also meeting with international benchmark for green building. So at the moment, we are still working on a particular, myself and some other team members, we are working on a local green building code that are taking into consideration the prevailing condition within Nigerian climate and what can work in the context of our building code that is government approved. Well, we're working on it. I'm hoping that before the end of the year, we'll be done with it.
All right, that's a fantastic work, sir. Thank you so much. Now, there's a question here from Edafe. I mean, this question does bring us home, right? So it says, what is the role of green building post-COVID? He said, the question continues saying, remember that COVID-19 now makes touching elements almost prohibited, and smart building may become more ideal. Now, considering the energy demand of smart building, what is the role of green building post-COVID-19?
Okay, so what now in years past, the core, because if you look at the matrix that drive green building, for the ones that are running on standard rating tools, the focus has been more on energy and water, while indoor air quality and health within the building is like a third or fourth rank. Now, what will happen within the green building settings in days to come is that the health part will take like the preeminence. Now you can start thinking about cleaning protocols where we can get to start using UV lights to clean, so that even if you come into surfaces, you won't be able to contaminate, you won't be able to get to other quality. Okay, we can look at the indoor air quality first in terms of airborne disease, and also surface. Surface that you touched in a building can then have some sort of controls. Now, what might happen also in days to come is that, as you actually said, there might be more of smart homes or smart buildings that you can get to an hotel from the reception to your room. You don't have to touch anything. A lot of things will be voice activated so that contacts can be reduced and possible contamination can also be reduced. Now, what does this do to us? Manufacturing, because as much as we could say that all of this will also demand on energy, if the manufacturing and the research arm also respond very well, we can get to start seeing smart lifts that are even cheaper to run and to own compared to the traditional lifts. You can start seeing motion sensor, and even some of them, the beauty of it also is that compared to what we did before, that we keep building running eventually. What we now have doing is that we can only run building when there are occupants. So when you get to a door, the door opens because you are there. The moment you're out of that door, the door shuts down. Not that they'll be running 24 hours because it's meant to run. So what I know will happen is that there will be some extreme innovation within the industry that will ensure that even as much as we are trying to drive smart homes to help enhance our health, as much as we try to drive indoor air quality, there will also be some sort of reduced energy consumption. One of the things that will also get to happen is that at some level, we now have a lot of enlightened users. So you get some spaces, you see some basic things around that building that will show you the external temperature and the internal temperature. That will show you some things. It's always like it's an exclusive access or exclusive knowledge of the building owner or the operators. So we get to have asking questions about what is in your hair, how do you get to manage your space, what do you use to clean these surfaces. So 3 things I know will happen. There will be innovations that will drive that path to make homes smarter, and there will be on-demand usage. It won't be like a continuous system where you run things continually, post things run, and there will be some sort of automated system where you can get to interact, voice-activated doors. You don't need to touch the door. Perhaps the only thing you do in your hotel room is just to lie down. Your TV, you talk to your TV comes up. Your door open by its word. Right. You can get, right. I mean, a lot of things will happen. Innovations and health will be the focus of the post-COVID green building, in my own thoughts and analysis.
All right, thank you so much for your time. I mean, it's really an enlightening moment. So that means going forward, we're going to start having a lot of innovations in the green building space, and that's, you know, to also invite everyone who is a client or who want to build, you know, start thinking green building. Let's save our planet. Let's be more climate active in whatever thing we want to do. I mean, building is also, I mean, very essential. You know, there is no man that would be on earth without having a roof on his head. That means building is an essential commodity for everybody. All right, for other questions we have, I apologize that some of these questions, I believe, Architect Emmanuel will help us answer the question. We'll send those questions to him and your mail so that he can. I think just about 3 more questions, but we are already out of time, so we have to close right now. And also, you know, behind the scene, we discussed with Architect Emmanuel, you know, about having a master class, you know, that extensively talk about, okay, green building, the features and how to achieve one. And, you know, if you want to generate an idea or an innovation in that, or a business around that space. So I'm looking forward to this master class. We'll please just, you know, keep a close tab on our social media handles on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Just search for at Nigeria CIC, at Nigeria CIC. If you don't find what will lead you there, you can type the whole, the name in Nigeria Climate Innovation Center. Then you get information about the masterclass coming up soon. And also, we are going to send an invite to everyone that are partake and that are be a part of this show. So one more time, I want to apologize on behalf of Mr. Banks. Because of the we had a glitch with the internet connection, and before now we've depended on what's it called, the internet that we use in our offices, but right now we have to share from the bandwidth that is supplied by the master around our house. So there may be a lot of glitch and a lot of jamming at the moment, so we're so sorry about that. But thank you so much for joining the show. You can also still go back on YouTube and view maybe for the next 24 hours. And if you have any, any question, please, you can always send to info@nigeriacic.org. So thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this.
Tito, let me just add a little bit of more to say. Well, I think it was a very good conversation, not minding whether I was asking the question or you were asking the question. I think, the outcomes we got from Architect Emmanuel was quite, mind opening. So I would say that also for next week, we hope to talk more on self-sustenance during pandemic period. And this is going to be focusing on vertical farming, hydroponics, less soil farming and co. And we'll be having Miss Itoa Edopolo, they'll be talking to us, I'm sure either from Texas or somewhere in Lagos, any of the two next week. And I hope I have been better. And then, we can have a more interesting conversation, alongside this one. So Tito, please wrap up, and thank you everybody for attending. Cheers.
All right, so thanks so much. So just in a statement, sir, just give us your Architect Manuel, just give us your closing remark, just like in a statement or two. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, everyone. My thoughts is that we should start thinking about green buildings. They are more than brick and mortar. Green building are more than what we think, or a building that's painted green is more around how we get to initiate, how we get to design, how we get to build, how we get to operate, how we get to maintain, and how we get to even the end of life of building is a whole cycle. And green building is for our benefits. Anything we do within the green building space or within the environmental space is for our people, it's for people yet unborn, it's for our child. So it's around sustainability, it's around the future that we all want to see or be part of. So and of course, it's also a global platform, a global involvement. So let's also be involved in it in our own local space, and let's also help to reduce the greenhouse gases. Let's help with the climate change and the global warming effects that we all face today. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, everyone. So do you have a